What if a small, mountainous country with limited resources and a struggling economy decided to build the world's tallest dam? Well, that's exactly what Tajikistan is doing. With a $6 billion price tag, decades of delays, and enormous environmental and geopolitical risks, the Rogun Dam could either transform the nation or destroy it. So the question is this: will this high-stakes gamble collapse or conquer? In the shadow of the towering Pamir Mountains, Tajikistan, one of the poorest countries in Central Asia, is chasing a dream as colossal as the cliffs it stands on. The idea itself was born during the Soviet era, back in the 1970s. Engineers envisioned a mega dam on the roaring Vaksh River, a marvel of concrete and courage that would tame the water and power the region. But like so many other Soviet dreams, the project collapsed with the empire. Fast forward decades later, and the ambition is back, but this time it's personal. The Rogun Dam isn't just big. If completed, it'll stand 335 meters tall, making it the tallest dam on the planet, taller than even China's Jinping 1, and twice the height of the Hoover Dam. It's designed to generate 3,600 megawatts of electricity, enough to light up every home and factory in Tajikistan with power left over to sell across borders. But it's also about more than energy. To Tajikistan, Rogun represents independence, a chance to stop relying on imported electricity, a way to flex its muscles in a region where water equals power, politically and literally. It's a monument to resilience, a statement that says, we may be small, but we're not backing down. And so, perched in a seismic zone along a river that knows no mercy, Tajikistan is daring to build what no one else has: a dam that defies nature, poverty, and the odds. The dream is alive, but the ground it's built on, that's still shaking. But dreams this big don't come so easy. The Rogun Dam might have been born in ambition, but it grew up in chaos. Construction first began in 1976 when the Soviet Union still held the reins. The foundations were laid, plans drafted, and for a moment it looked like the mountain would finally kneel to man. But then everything unraveled. In 1991, the USSR collapsed. Along with it, funding vanished, coordination disintegrated, and Tajikistan, now an independent nation, was left with a half-built colossus and no means to finish it. In the 2000s, the Tajik government tried to revive the project, but no one wanted to bankroll what looked like a cursed endeavor. The World Bank hesitated. Private investors just stayed away, and for years it kind of felt like Rogun was just a monument to what could have been. But then came a turning point in 2016. The project was officially relaunched, this time with international contractors, heavy machinery, and real political will. Construction restarted, and the first turbine was brought online by 2018. Regional tensions alongside construction hurdles like cement and steel shortages brought progress to a near standstill. Uzbekistan, downstream on the Vaksh River, feared the dam would cripple its water supply. So, disputes flared, negotiations dragged on, and the dam became not just a project, but a bargaining chip in a delicate regional game. For Tajikistan, every delay was another reminder that this was not just engineering. It's diplomacy, it's survival, and the clock keeps ticking. And then there's the price tag, the part of the story that's both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The Rogun Dam is a national gamble, one with a $6 billion bill, in a country where the entire GDP hovers around $10 billion. To put that in perspective, imagine if the US decided to spend $12 trillion on a single building. That's how deeply Rogun has carved itself into Tajikistan's financial bloodstream. The World Bank stepped in, but only to conduct environmental and social assessments. When it came to actual funding, they backed away. It was too risky, too volatile. So Tajikistan turned inward. In 2010, the government launched an emotional campaign urging its own citizens to buy dam bonds. Civil servants were strongly encouraged, some say coerced, to donate portions of their own wages. Families were told it was their patriotic duty. Some sold livestock, others borrowed money. For many, it wasn't a choice, it was a sacrifice. Even now, the state budget shoulders most of the burden, supplemented by foreign loans and occasional international investments. But every year of delay simply means more money bled. Every unexpected hurdle sends costs climbing, and the ripple effects are everywhere. Inflation quietly ticks upward, utility costs rise, public services suffer, and wage growth stagnates. But despite all this, the dam presses on. It's not uncommon to hear stories of teachers or nurses struggling to make ends meet while construction cranes tower in the distance. For a nation trying to climb out of poverty, it's like betting your entire life savings on a single hand of cards. If Rogun wins, it changes everything. And if it doesn't, the economic fallout could take generations to repair. Building the tallest dam in the world was like playing a high-stakes game of engineering roulette. At 335 meters tall, nearly the height of the Empire State Building, the Rogun Dam isn't just big, it's record-shattering. No dam in history has ever reached this scale. And yet, that's only half the story, because this towering wall of rock and ambition is being constructed in one of the most earthquake-prone regions on Earth. The Vaksh Valley sits near multiple active seismic fault lines. In engineering terms, that's like building a skyscraper on a tightrope during a windstorm. One major quake, one slip in calculations, and it's not just concrete that cracks. It's an entire region that floods. Then there's the river itself. The Vaksh River isn't gentle. It surges with glacial melt, swells unpredictably, and has carved canyons for thousands of years. Taming it meant rerouting the river through massive tunnels, blasting through mountains, and building spillways designed to handle flows that would drown city blocks in seconds. The dam uses a rock-fill design, reinforced with a central clay core. It's modern, and theoretically, it's stable. But at this height and scale, no one's ever tested it in the real world, so the margin of error is razor thin. And powering it all are massive turbines capable of generating 3,600 megawatts, enough to electrify all of Tajikistan and still have energy left to export. But if something fails, a blockage, a design flaw, a miscalculated pressure release, the consequences wouldn't just be local, they'd be catastrophic. But for all the danger, all the debt, and the delay, the reward might just be worth it. If completed, the Rogun Dam wouldn't just light up Tajikistan, it would supercharge it. With a capacity of over 3,600 megawatts, the dam could produce more electricity than the entire country needs. And not just during peak months, year-round. Tajikistan wouldn't just achieve energy independence, it could become an energy exporter, sending clean hydroelectric power to energy-hungry neighbors like Afghanistan, Pakistan, and even India through massive regional projects like CSA 1000. In simple terms, it means hard currency flowing into a country where many still live below the poverty line. It means job creation, better infrastructure, and reduced reliance on fossil fuels and foreign powers. But beyond economics, there's something more intangible, yet just as powerful: pride. For one of the poorest post-Soviet republics, finishing Rogun would be more than a technical win. It would be a statement that a landlocked mountain nation, written off by global investors, could pull off one of the most ambitious renewable energy projects of the 21st century. It's a symbol of resilience, of ambition. Tajikistan is finally stepping out of the shadows and onto the global stage. But that's only if it succeeds. Because for every promise Rogun holds, there's an equally heavy price hanging in the balance. Because if the funding dries up, if the economy buckles under the strain, what remains could be a $6 billion concrete tombstone, haunting the Vaksh River with its unfinished ambition, an empty monument to a dream too heavy for its own builders. And even if it's completed, what if it fails? The dam was a towering wall holding back billions of tons of water in a region crisscrossed by seismic fault lines. If an earthquake struck and the structure cracked, thousands of people downstream would have mere hours, maybe even minutes, to flee. Entire cities, farms, and ecosystems could be wiped out in a single surge. And then there's the environmental cost. Damming a wild river always comes with consequences. Disrupted fish migration, altered ecosystems, and the slow death of biodiversity. Sediment, normally carried downstream to nourish soil, gets trapped, starving farmland further south. And the ripples aren't just ecological. Uzbekistan has long feared the Rogun will hoard water it desperately needs for irrigation. Cotton is king in the Uzbek economy, and less river flow means crippled harvests, rising tensions, and perhaps future water conflicts. And finally, there's the biggest wild card of all: climate change. Will melting glaciers and shifting weather patterns still feed the Voksh in 20 years? Or will the dam sit dry, a giant machine with nothing to power? Rogun's greatest threat may not be engineering, but uncertainty. Because if it falters, the cost won't just be measured in money. It'll be measured in lives, land, and the delicate balance of a region. In the end, the Rogun Dam was a bet. So what do you think? A bet by one of the world's poorest nations to spend over half its entire economy on a single colossal gamble. A concrete colossus rising from the mountains, carrying the hopes of millions and the fears of just as many. To some, it's visionary, a bold leap towards energy independence, economic growth, and national pride. The kind of ambition that puts Tajikistan on the map, not as a forgotten corner of Central Asia, but as a renewable energy powerhouse. To others, it's reckless, a fragile structure on a fault line, an unaffordable dream pushing ordinary citizens into sacrifice and debt. A project that could collapse under its own weight, financially, environmentally, or just literally. For now, the turbines remain unfinished, the river diverted, and the outcome uncertain. But this much is clear: Tajikistan is all in. And with every passing year, as budgets stretch and expectations rise, one question looms larger than ever. Will the Rogun Dam become the engine of Tajikistan's transformation, or the blueprint for one of history's costliest engineering failures?